Some mysteries leave whispers and clues in their wake, while others shatter all logic and reason. Have you ever wondered how 3 men disappeared from an island cut off from the world? No lifeboat missing, no footprints left behind. Only an empty lighthouse staring into the storm. Stay with me, because in this video, we will uncover the secrets the ocean never wanted us to find. And the truth hidden here might be darker than you think. It was the year 1900. The world was stepping into a new century, full of invention and change. But out on the edge of Scotland's coast, on a lonely group of rocks called the Flannan Isles, time seemed frozen. These islands were wild, windswept and empty, except for one new structure, a lighthouse built only a year before. Its job was simple: keep sailors safe from the deadly waters that had swallowed ships for centuries. Inside that lighthouse lived 3 men: Thomas Marshall, James Ducat, and Donald MacArthur. James Ducat was the principal keeper. He was 43, a family man with children back home. He was steady, responsible, the kind of man others trusted to lead. Thomas Marshall was his assistant, just 28 years old. Young but serious, he had already built a reputation for being reliable. And then there was Donald MacArthur, 40 years old, tough and fiery, known for his temper, but also for his loyalty. He wasn't even supposed to be there full time. He was a substitute, filling in for a sick colleague. The 3 men had one job: keep the light burning. Their days were strict, almost mechanical. They cleaned, polished, checked the oil, kept logs of the weather and sea. At night, they took turns making sure the beam never went out. It was lonely work, but necessary. For weeks, the lighthouse shone without trouble. Passing ships saw its beam and gave thanks for the warning. But then came December, storm season. The seas grew violent. Winds battered the rocks. Waves rose like walls of water, smashing against the cliffs. And in the middle of all this, the light suddenly went out. On December 15th, a passing ship noted that the lighthouse had gone dark. No signal, no comfort, just blackness. But because of the storms, nobody could reach the island right away. It wasn't until December 26th, 11 days later, that a relief crew finally made the dangerous crossing. What they found was chilling. The men climbed the steep stone steps to the lighthouse. The entrance door was closed, but not locked. Inside, everything appeared strangely normal at first. The beds were made. The kitchen was tidy. On the table sat a half-eaten meal, as if the men had left in a hurry. But then the details grew unsettling. One chair was overturned, lying on its side. The clocks inside had all stopped. 2 sets of oilskins, the heavy coats keepers wore in storms, were missing, but one was still hanging on the hook. That meant at least one of the men had gone outside without protection, something no experienced keeper would ever do in the freezing Atlantic winter. The logbook gave another clue. The last entries were written by Thomas Marshall. He had described severe storms, damage to the equipment, and something stranger still: feelings of fear. One entry mentioned that James Ducat had been very quiet, and that MacArthur, the tough and fiery one, had been crying. Marshall himself admitted to being badly frightened. These were unusual words for hardened lighthouse men. What had shaken them so badly? After December 15th, the logbook went silent. No more entries, no explanation. The relief crew searched every corner of the lighthouse, They scoured the cliffs and rocky shoreline. They called the men's names into the wind. But the three keepers were nowhere to be found. No bodies, no footprints leading away, no boat missing. It was as if the island had swallowed them whole. When the news reached the mainland, people were shocked. Newspapers carried the story of the vanishing keepers, and speculation spread like wildfire. Everyone had a theory, but no one had proof. The official investigation offered an answer that seemed straightforward. The keepers, it said, must have gone outside during one of the violent December storms to secure equipment that had been damaged by the waves. On the western side of the island, there was clear evidence of the sea's power. Iron railings bent out of shape, turf ripped from the ground, and heavy rocks shifted from their places. Investigators believed a massive wave could have struck suddenly, sweeping the men into the ocean before they had a chance to react. It was a practical explanation. After all, the Atlantic could be merciless, and rogue waves were known to rise without warning. But even as this became the official story, many people struggled to accept it. For one, why would all three men leave the lighthouse together? Standard rules required at least one keeper to remain inside at all times, no matter what happened outside. And then there was the matter of the coat. 2 sets of oilskins, the heavy protective gear worn against rain and waves, were gone. But one still hung on the hook. That suggested at least one man, possibly MacArthur, had rushed outside without even pausing to protect himself. For seasoned keepers, this seemed unthinkable. And there was another troubling detail: the strange logbook entries. Before the storm, Marshall had written about fear, silence, and even tears. Why would tough, experienced men be so shaken before disaster struck? Something didn't fit neatly with the rogue wave theory. So, as the story spread, other explanations began to surface. Some whispered that tempers had flared. Donald MacArthur, after all, was known for being fiery and quick to anger. What if there had been a fight? Perhaps an argument turned violent near the cliffs, and one man was killed or badly injured. In the chaos, the others may have tried to intervene, only to be caught by the storm themselves. It was a grim theory, but one that seemed possible to those who knew MacArthur's history. Others suggested the answer was not violence, but madness. Life on the Flannan Isles was brutally lonely. Days of isolation, sleepless nights tending the lamp, and weeks of pounding storms could wear down even the strongest minds. Some believed the men may have slowly lost their grip on reality. Perhaps paranoia or despair pushed one of them into rash action, dragging the others with him. After all, the logbook entries spoke of fear and men crying, strange behavior for those who had survived storms before. And yet, for many, these human explanations still felt unsatisfying. That's when the supernatural theories began to take hold. Sailors had long spoken of the Flannan Isles as haunted. Some said the islands were cursed, the restless spirits of drowned sailors roaming the rocks at night. Others claimed the land itself was alive, an ancient force that demanded sacrifices from anyone who dared to live there. The eerie silence that greeted rescuers only deepened these beliefs. One tale suggested that the men heard phantom voices on the wind, whispers calling their names, luring them out into the storm. Another theory went further, imagining something rising from the sea. Not a wave, but a presence, older and inhuman, claiming the keepers for itself. Whether these were just ghost stories or attempts to explain the unexplainable, no one could prove them wrong. In the end, The island gave no answers. No bodies were ever found. No final clue was uncovered. The three men, Duckett, Marshall, and MacArthur, vanished into the storm, leaving behind only silence and speculation. Over a century later, the mystery still lingers. Historians revisit the evidence, sailors tell the tale, and storytellers weave new theories. Was it a tragic accident, the kind that happens when man challenges the sea? Or was it something far stranger, a glimpse into forces we still don't understand? Perhaps we will never know, and maybe that's why this story endures. Because the Flannan Isles didn't just lose 3 keepers, they gained a legend. Our quest for the truth concludes here, but the island's secrets remain hidden, waiting for the next brave soul to uncover them. What happened to the 3 men who vanished without a trace? Will we ever know the truth? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you have your own theory? Or perhaps a new clue to share? And if you enjoyed the mystery, don't forget to subscribe and share with others who dare to uncover the unknown.